right, welcome to the second Fragments of Silicon review of the evening, um, Project Cars 2. So if you're watching, well, either live or in the video on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, you'll notice that we're using the trailer. And that's because this is a very graphically intensive game. Like, yeah.
My computer cries when it opens.
Mine
Before
too.
we get into the meat and potatoes of this game, once again, we are doing a live code giveaway in our Discord. If you're listening to this live, just head over there. The link is in the bottom part of our Twitch room.
Yeah, the info panels. There's one that says join the Discord. There's a link underneath it.
Yeah, and Petty Fan's going to be handing that out as this review goes, and into the post show until all the codes are gone. So now is as good a time as any, I think, to start.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Right. So Project Cars 2. First of all, is a game we did an interview about just this past Wednesday. You might have heard of it actually, because it's one of those interviews that broke, at least in the Nintendo sphere, as I like to call it, because, well, Cyrus mentioned, if you want Project Cars 2 on the Nintendo Switch, tell, Namco Bandai. Sorry, a decade of calling them Namco Bandai is always gonna trip me up on that. Bandai Namco or Slightly Mad Studios. And that's been going through a lot of the Nintendo enthusiast sites. I don't know how much actual feedback Bandai Namco and Slightly Mad are getting right now. The reactions have been colorful, to say the least.
Yeah, a lot of people would probably really like to have this game on the Switch. This is also a game that would be pretty hard to put on the Switch.
Here's the thing. There's actually a lot of baggage and backstory to this that I didn't talk about in the interview because it wasn't really relevant then, but it's kind of relevant now. So Project Cars and the Nintendo fan base have a history, kind of a bad one. Back when the first game was being crowdfunded, that was initially being planned for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Wii U. Then it got shifted over to the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and then Wii U. And so all the legacy systems, including the Wii U version, got canceled. And that's Nintendo fans are still pretty pissed about that. I've seen people air their grievances about this again. And I'm like, it's also, apparently Slightly Mad Studios have said some incendiary things about the fan base. I'm like, what happened in regards to the Wii U version of Project Cars 1, when they switched from 7th generation systems to 8th gen systems, the game got a big power bump up, to take advantage of the new systems, and the Wii U just couldn't hack it because, it was a half step towards the Xbox 360 more than the Xbox One, and apparently they couldn't even get the game running at 30 frames per second under the new engine and stuff. So it just had to be canceled. And yeah, that kind of ties into what we got going on here, because Project Cars 2 is, even though it's technically an independent game, although this one less so, because from what I got from the interview, Bandai Namco apparently actually invested in this one versus them going the crowdfunding route for Project Cars 2. So yeah, this is a AAA premium release, which is pretty rare for this show. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of glad that's the case because, I'm not sure how useful this review is going to be. We're doing it out of a sense of obligation, but we're not the guys you want to go to for this kind of game. No pun intended. This is not our wheelhouse, like in any regard.
I think that'd be more for
wheelhouses
fishing,
are
but
for ships, but
yeah.
But yeah, we're not big on simulation racing because
Yeah.
we usually play gamier games.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we get simulation games, and like sometimes we get really niche simulation games. Like that time we reviewed the cycling game,
Mm-hmm.
Pro Cycling Tour Manager 2017. Yeah, that was pretty simulation and pretty. That was even less out of in our wheelhouse because this I can at least identify with. Like I played racing games before. I know how racing games work, even the simulation games work. I don't like this game. I'll be honest. I hated every moment I actually played because I don't like this kind of game. Like,
yeah, for this kind of game, it seems like a very good game of this kind of game.
Right.
But this game is enjoyable to people who enjoy sitting in fast cars and going fast around a track or through a course.
Right.
And trying to do it faster than other people.
Well, even that. People who want to actually, simulate the experience. And the game is really built around that, not just in terms of having, top tier graphical capabilities. Apparently up to 12K. I'm still trying to figure out how you do that, because outside of having a lot of money.
Yeah, this game has 3 monitor support and VR support.
And steering wheel support.
And obviously game steering wheel support, because
yeah, it's like and that can all lead up to having one of those big force feedback arcade cabinet deals, like where you hook the game up to a game that actually simulates the feel of being in a car, like obviously very expensive high-end stuff, but yeah, you can play this game all the way down to a stock Xbox One controller or what have you.
That's what I use, and I remapped it heavily because and that is a good thing. It has very good free remapping options, although be aware there are a lot of options for controls in this game that you are not necessarily going to ever use.
yeah this game is all about giving you options. I'll be honest, I really didn't look at a lot of the options because I really didn't give a shit.
I actually really enjoyed looking through the options. I learned a bit about how some of the stuff that these cars can do and how they work in games and stuff from that. But
right.
Yeah, there's a windshield wiper button for if you're playing in this. If you decide to have it be in rain, you probably can use that.
Well, yeah, it's like this being a simulation game, weather effects matter a lot.
Mm-hmm. And you can also make the game. I played the game on about max cartooniness. I did everything that I could find to make it more cartoony, except for there's actually even an option that will show you the optimal driving line through a stage. But I turned car damage off. I turned all the controls down to the most simple.
Right. Because this game, even with all the assists on, even with car damage off, it's still difficult. Or rather, there is a steep learning curve to get.
You have to actually be good at making the car work well to be good at the game, which I guess makes it's a very successful simulation.
Yes, it is. The biggest problem I've been hearing is actually the bugs. There have been some egregious bugs like multiplayer not working. I'll be honest, we did not test multiplayer because we weren't sure everyone's computer was going to work and all that stuff.
Yeah, my computer had a really hard time getting it to even run, and that was at the lowest settings.
I noticed a few times I lightly grazed wall and my car stopped dead.
Yeah, I'm and
but we did mention that to Cyrus, and he said that they are aware that there are some problems and they're working on them.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, and no matter what your graphical settings, though, this game is going to look pretty impressive. Like,
yeah, I had it way down and it still looked really good.
Like, it's very clearly designed to be a graphical showpiece. The racing games are often used in that fashion. Like I said, there is a lot here, but this is the problem with being not an expert.
Yeah, I really wish I was into this kind of game more so I could say more. I mean, everything about this seems to me that it has almost every option that I can think of wanting in a simulation racer. It's just that it doesn't have a lot of the options that I would want in a racer, which involve like physics breaking power-ups and homing missiles.
Yeah. I'm like, and you have to. It's not just about racing, because this is motorsports, and that entails rules, regulations, pit, planning your pit crew.
Yeah, and there are options. The first options that I said was, oh, hey, there's pit stuff in here. Let's automate all of that. Because you can either have it so as soon as you enter the pit lane, you're on computer control until you get out of the pit lane. You can also have it so you have to carefully drive your car through the pit lane, drive up to your guys, wait until exactly they're done getting your tires back on, and then drive out of the pit lane at the appropriate speed.
Yeah. I'm like,
well, to be fair, this game also has options for an actual full-length race.
It does, and there are. And it's worth mentioning because this is motorsports. I don't think we specifically mentioned this. While most of the art in the trailer is of like NASCAR style racing, there's also Formula One stuff in here. There's also there's even an actual go-kart mode.
Yeah, actually, I don't. I think that's one of the few things that's missing here. Like, there's no NASCAR because
licensing.
I apologize. I was using NASCAR incorrectly. I meant stock car.
Right. Well,
in that they're actual like road legal cars, more or less.
Right. I mean, though you do have to make the distinction because stock car, like I know stock car racing, NASCAR is stock car racing, but NASCAR is also a particular type of stock car racing.
You're correct. I was using the terminology incorrectly.
Yeah, that's the one in the oval. I'm like, and I believe like the NASCAR motorsport stuff is Forza exclusive, and it's also got its own game, NASCAR Heat.
Oh yeah.
The point is, like, NASCAR is like one of the few racing things I can think of that's actually missing.
Yeah, it does have stock cars and it does have F1 cars. There are 23 different makers of cars that have licensed car models in the game. There are multiple models for most of those, so if you want to do a Lamborghini, you could do that. They had 2 different flavors of Mercedes, I think. And there are a bunch of different driving areas, everything from Daytona to a bunch of way more like driving through the woods on roads and stuff.
Rally courses.
Courses, yeah.
That's one of the things from what I've been reading, that's one of the things that got added, off-road rally racing, to this version.
Which is a good use for the windshield wiper button.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, and speaking of options, there are many ways to play this game. There's your bog standard career mode. Rise through the ranks from the bottom tiers to become, a legend in racing. And you start from the scrub leagues, which include kart racing. I'm like, I'll be honest, I thought the kart racing was the worst aspect of this game.
Yeah.
It's not real kart racing unless you have balloons and heavy weaponry.
I'll note the irony of that. But you don't necessarily have to start at the bottom. You can start into about the middle. Like, I think the highest tier you can start is tier 3. or tier 4. Like, I know the top tiers are locked off until you actually qualify for them. But, you know, it is nice that you don't have to deal with the scrub mode if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to be able to leap into like the supercars and the legendary races either. At least not in career mode. You know, you've got quick play, which is which is more you can play the anything of everything. Cyrus is pretty adamant about that. Like, you can have a truck in rally racing or whatever.
Yeah, this is the mode in which, yes, you can take an F1 off road.
You know,
it's probably as bad of an idea as it is in real life.
Indeed, you can take the kart racer onto a real racetrack, and once again, bad idea, but you can do it.
Now I see that there was a car damage slider, but I didn't see a driver damage slider.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of games, like I know Burnout Paradise did this because of, I think, regulations in the EU or something, that like accidents, the driver either doesn't do anything or they disappear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the EU and I think there are certain particular countries that are very conservative about certain types of bodily harm in video games. I think Germany is one of them, but I'm not sure.
Germany would be it. Like, they're the country that didn't allow you to kill human enemies. So, hello, Turok with robots.
Yep.
And as far as I can tell, everything in the game is real, not just the cars, but the tracks. You've got some pretty famous one like Fuji Speedway. I do know Fuji Speedway has been featured in a lot of games, I think dating back to maybe Pole Position, or the Pole Position era. Like it's shown up in Gran Turismo, Forza Motorsport, I think. Like a lot of games. Daytona's there. Like it's the Daytona of Daytona, USA fame.
The big old triangle with rounded edges and very banked turns.
Mm-hmm.
That is the stage I played the most on, because it is the stage that it is the most easy to do, because this is a simulation game, so you have to break into turns, except not so much on Daytona because the turns are super banked.
Like, I suppose one of the, in their quest to give you the most realistic racing experience, there is music, but it's all in the menus. Like, it's pretty, for lack of a better term, epic music. Like, it's very highly dramatized. Like, it's the kind of music you'd be seeing in a highlight reel of racing or something like that.
Yeah, and that kind of slightly disappointed me. I didn't get to bring this up in the interview, but I was thinking about but what if you wanted to do the Baby Driver thing? Because I know it's not. I know you don't have a sound system in a car, because a racing car wants to be as light as possible, and sound systems are expensive. But there's no reason you can't have like an iPhone and headphones.
I'm like, the assumption is the racers focusing on the race, but
that's true.
I suppose it's not that big of a problem, at least on the PC. I'm not sure if like the 8th generation of consoles are doing the custom soundtrack thing. I remember that was a big feature on the Xbox 360. I'm like, and was really helpful on some games there. But
yeah, PS4, you have to be online and use I think it's Spotify.
Yeah, I mean on the PC, you can just
Hi,
open
YouTube.
up. Yeah, it's like you can just open something up and have music playing. It's not a hard problem to fix. And it's not just racing. You can do time trials, and you can have ghosts, and there are esport challenges. There's just so much to this game. Like, we could probably spend a couple hours just delving into each little aspect of Project Cars 2. Like, it is definitely reflective of its nature as a $60 AAA major publisher release.
I will also say this for it: it is not a game where you can and have to pay an additional, if you want to, like additional money to have your driver wearing a clown suit.
Yeah. So the good news. Yeah. So the good news here is this game is, I suppose, shockingly bereft of DLC. That is coming. They got a season pass, which I think is an additional $20-$30 here. Let me just bring up like the exact prices of things. Live research.
Not like we've never done that on this show before. Nervous chuckle.
Yeah. Yeah, $30 for the season pass. I suppose the problem here is they haven't gone into a lot of detail in what's in the season pass, and that makes it hard to recommend because you don't know exactly what you're getting here outside of 4 loaded, like the description here is 4 loaded DLC packs for the price of 3.
Yeah, it's hard to recommend that strictly without knowing what's in the DLC packs.
Yeah, it's like each containing new cars, tracks, career events, and liveries, and that's all. And apparently, all the actual downloading is handled with an in-game system. But yeah, it's like I'm kind of with Jim Sterling on this. Don't blindly pre-order season passes. Like know what's actually in them, because I mean this game is actually pretty good about giving you value for the dollar, because I think we touched upon it in the interview. Forza 7 just absolutely shut itself with basically having a free-to-play design in a premium game. At least
it's like they do still let you actually repaint your car for free.
Yeah, I'm like, and they've added the current Scourge loot boxes to their ecosystem. Like, I can definitely say that Project Cars 2 has none of that. There's no pointless cosmetic DLC. There's no loot boxes. There's no grinding.
Yeah, this is a pretty pure simulator for people who want to simulate being a really good racer.
Yeah. You can actually play the game, to actually play the game.
Like, if you're into simulation races, this will keep you occupied for a while.
Yeah, I give it integrity points for not doing the Forza 7 thing, so,
Right. Don't exactly know how it compares to Gran Turismo Sport, because it's not out yet. But from what I've been hearing, that game's going to be a bit thin on content. And I suppose, so it's it might be the choice by default, and even then it has some problems with the bug reports. But the overall package is, from my perspective, pretty stellar for this kind of game. It's just I don't want to spend another second with it.
I wish I was a more discerning, a more avid consumer of racing games, so I could say more about it.
Like I said, I can play racing games. It's just realistic simulations. Simulating actual motorsports has never been my bag. Like that is a specific audience thing. It's like I recognize that this is a pretty stellar game. It's just not my cup of tea. So on that note, I would have to give this game probably an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I would go, like, the lowest I would go is 8, probably higher, because this seems like a really solid game for what it is. Just my personal enjoyment does not scale with where that is for most games that rank that high, just because this is a genre that really doesn't grab me.
But I mean, this is kind of the job of the reviewer,
Mhm.
or at least someone who actually strives to be good at this. Recognizing, okay, this isn't for me, but I'm like, it's not a bad game.
Yeah, when I was trying to think about it in terms of if I was really into this,
Uh-huh.
is there anything that it particularly has that or doesn't have that I would want it to have, and I didn't really come up with anything.
Right.
Small caveat for if you're getting this on
Uh,
any system with limited storage, it's a pretty big game.
yeah, but once again, that's why I emphasize the $60 AAA title,
Mm-hmm.
um, because those games tend to be pretty big these days. 50 gigs is about the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And this game about 35 45 gigs, so it's pretty typical for that set, because games are not bound by the storage capacity of DVD anymore.
Yep, that is definitely true.
It's
Yeah.
like what that's why a lot of last gen games were not that big. They were about 8 gig. They had to deal with the Xbox 360 parameters here. No longer the case, especially since everything's a lot more digital now. That's to say, you're getting a lot of uncompressed textures. You're getting a lot of uncompressed music. Uncompressed audio files. Just everything is uncompressed now. So,
Because compression artifacts are a thing that impact certain people's enjoyment of things.
well, it's also they don't have to abide by the space constraints.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not. Right. Have we given out all the codes yet?
Not quite. We still have one more PS4 code to give away, and one Xbox code we need to figure out what we're gonna do with.
Just throw it out. We'll throw it out on social media if we need to get rid of it.
All right.
I'm like the tides of Twitter will take that to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what about the Gundam versus codes?
We can do that in the post show.
All right. So yeah, stay tuned after this, which actually coming up really soon, because I any final thoughts on Project Cars 2 from Twilight or Petty Fan?
Unless you're really into racing games, like actual simulation games, this isn't for you.
I
Like-
agree. Unless you want your games to have more flair, like we were giving examples of, like Mario Kart or something like that.
Mhm.
This game might not be for you. Yeah. If you want something more realistic, grounded in reality, this is for you. Otherwise, yeah.
All right. So that'll about do it for Project Cars 2. And indeed, that'll about do it for this installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. The week ahead. So do you want to talk about MSP first, or should we save that for last?
We can do that now just so I can get ready for music. We're gonna be having Rowdy C this week.
Mm-hmm. So Chris Lee Moore of Rowdy C Productions. His flagship show is called TV Trash. It's been That's a program that's been floating around. I don't know, at least 6-7 years. I'm like, it's a show about reviewing bad TV shows. So it clashes a lot with YouTube's Content ID, which is why it's not really featured on YouTube. Like I first saw it on Daily Motion. Now it's on VidMe. Like he's also got like the Wrestling Mark and Rowdy Friends. Yeah, he's he's very inspired by Channel Awesome, let's say. And as far as Fragments of Silicon goes, this week we do not have a Tuesday interview.
Oh, we don't? I thought we had them all month.
No, that's starting next week. Starting the 17th. 17th, 24th, 31st, November 7th. Uh, so on Wednesday, October 11th, John Pickett of Manga Gamer is joining us.
I assume we'll be talking about Project, what's the face? Or Planet.
Space Live Attack of the Net Idols.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's the visual novel we're reviewing next week. Yeah, it's back to the centerpiece line of interviews. Thank God. I did not want to have to do another. Oh, you got 10,000 things you revealed at conventions. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the, oh, you have a bunch of stuff, let me give a brief overview kind of interview, because it lacks depth. Anyway, and yeah, so coming up on next Sunday, we have 3 games to review, because it's the busy season. We're heading to the holidays. People are releasing games more and more now. There's too many games to fucking play.
Like first world problems, am I right?
I can tell you right now, I'm not going to have time to do justice to Roller Coaster Tycoon. But that's because Roller Coaster Tycoon is the kind of game that you're supposed to sit at for like hours and hours.
To be fair, we all know what
building your perfect death trap. Excuse me, I mean carnival attraction.
No, we all know what my footage is going to be. It's going to be me building a death trap. Let's be real here.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, we're reviewing Space Live Attack of the Net Idols, Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic, and Mushroom Wars 2. Mushroom Wars 2 is like a multiplayer RTS game, so we're doing a multiplayer session of that on Friday. Like, that's how I was able to fit in 3 games this week. Like, oh, hey, multiplayer game. We'll just do the multiplayer session on that. Because our game review schedule is up to the first week of November right now. I'm like, although some of that is uneven. Like, the last week of October, there's a game that only I got, so I could probably fit another game there if it comes to it. Yeah, first world problems. Sometimes they can be problems. It's like this happens every holiday season. It'll let up about December, but for like the next two and a half months, it's gonna be busy. So, on that note, until Wednesday, I wish you good gaming.